welcome back to channel. Last week I did a review about the new TTArtisan 75mm f2 autofocus lens, but many of you may know that there is already a very popular 75mm lens on the market, the Samyang 75mm f1.8, which is even more lightweight but more than $100 more expensive than this new lens. So let's see how they perform side by side. First, of course, we test the detail and background separation. When you shoot wide open, the Samyang f1.8 surely has its advantage over the f2 TTArtisan lens. You can see the bokeh size is larger, but personally I think the shape of bokeh from the TTArtisan lens look more smooth. When they are both at f2, you can tell the bokeh from the TTArtisan lens looks a bit softer. Those from the Samyang lens seem a little bit busy to me. As for sharpness, I can't really tell which one performs better. Both are pretty sharp to me, but from some of these photos, I think the Samyang lens has more contrast. This is especially obvious when you look at this low light photo. You can see this was taken in a very bad lit environment. I was using ISO 5000 on my A7C II. You can see a lot of noise from both photos, and when you look at the puppy's eyes, apparently the Samyang lens shows more contrast. However, I don't think it's a deal breaker. It doesn't happen every time. For example, you can look at this set of low light photos. It's really difficult to tell which one is shot with which lens. I also want to show you several images taken at minimum focus distance. According to their official website, the Samyang lens has the minimum focus distance at 69 centimeters and the TTArtisan lens at 75 centimeters. I tested it and it is true, you can shoot a little bit closer with the Samyang lens, so your image will have a little bit more background separation. Let's test autofocus as well. I did several different tests. The first one is in photo mode. When taking pictures, I don't think there's too much of a difference. Both are very responsive. However, in video mode, there is a huge difference. I set both AF transition speed and shift sensitivity to 5 on the camera. You can see the Samyang lens is changing the focus gradually, like you can literally see the focus moving. Now with the TTArtisan lens, the focus is changing faster from one point to another. I can't really say which one is better. Some people might think the Samyang lens is reacting too slowly, but others might think the gradual change of focus in video looks more natural, so it's up to you to decide. I also want to add that the TTArtisan lens can create some slight focusing noise, while the Samyang lens is completely silent during focusing. When facing bright light, unfortunately both lenses present some degree of chromatic aberration. You can see some green and purple fringing around the leaves. The Samyang lens starts to show some improvement at f5.6, but the TTArtisan lens still has some serious green fringing. As for flaring, personally I like the one from TTArtisan better. You can see the Samyang lens has this kind of purple ghosting. even though it can happen to the TTArtisan lens sometimes, but the shape is much more flattering in my opinion. The Samyang lens certainly has better vignetting control than the TTArtisan lens. You see, even at f1.8, the former shows less vignetting than the latter at f2. Finally, let's look at the build. I'm not sure about the material, but they both feel pretty solid to me. And they are both on the lightweight side in terms of portrait lens. But the Samyang lens is about 2/3 the weight of the TTArtisan lens. Apart from weight and size, the first thing you'll notice is that the TTArtisan lens has an aperture ring on it. It's a clicked aperture ring, so it will not accidentally slide away to a different aperture number. On the other hand, the Samyang lens doesn't have an aperture ring, but it does have a custom switch, which allows you to switch your focus ring to aperture ring, and you can customize it if you have a Samyang lens station. Neither of the lenses have optical steady shot. For firmware update, the TTArtisan lens has a USB-C port at the rear of the lens body, while the Samyang lens, again, you will have to buy a Samyang lens station to update the firmware. To be honest, I've done so many lens comparisons, but this one is really difficult because in one aspect, one lens is better, but in another, the other lens is better. And if we look at this table, you can see they really shine in different areas. The green ones are the factors that I consider more important. One thing that I particularly want to mention is that I don't think the difference between f1.8 and f2 is a big deal. If you still remember the side-by-side comparisons I showed you, you'll know that f1.8 gives you just about the same light as f2, and the size of bokeh is only slightly different. If you're after a super lightweight lens with silent focusing for video, the Samyang might be the better choice. But if you prefer a more traditional lens design with a responsive focus mechanism for video shooting, and you don't mind slight focusing noise, the TTArtisan could be your go-to. And frankly speaking, even though this lens is the heavier between the two, it is already very lightweight. Ultimately, if you ask me whether it is worth paying more than $100 on the Samyang lens, I would say probably not. If you already have other Samyang lenses as well as the lens station for firmware update, then yeah, it makes sense to have another Samyang lens. Otherwise, I think the TTArtisan lens is of great value. Feel free to leave a comment to share with me how you think about these two lenses. How would you choose between the two? By the way, if you are thinking about buying the TTArtisan lens, I have a purchase link in the description box below. Feel free to take a look at it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.